Welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and in today's tutorial we're going to work on the small Picot flower together. Now there is a larger size version of this particular pattern, and the pattern will be provided in the more information of this video for you to access, so you just have to go there and get it. Now the major differences between the large flower and the small one is the hook size. The hook size is made smaller for making this flower because the flowers actually stack on top of each other. You don't have to use them together, but it's just a simple idea to be able to reduce the size. You should also know too that the larger size version has a slight variation to the pattern, so the pattern is not completely the same, so you have to pay attention to that. Today's yarn I'm going to be using today is the Red Heart Gumdrop. Fabulous little color line. It is geared for babies and it is so extremely soft. So let's do the small Picot flower together right now. So let's begin. We're going to create a slip knot just like you normally would, and let's go. So this pattern is the smaller version of the two, and it just makes a lot of sense what you get once you get going. Remember that the slip knot never counts as one, so we need to do a chain of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we have to create a ring. So to do that we slip the hook into the beginning chain and pull the yarn through to create the ring, just like so. So that is the first step of this flower. Moving on to round number 1, and there's only 2 rounds, so this is how simple and quick this is. So we're going to be chaining 3, and this says counts as a double crochet from here and throughout. So every time we chain 3 at this point in the start is considered a double crochet. So it says to do 2 double crochets into the ring. So let's begin. So we're going to do 2. I like to read my instructions step by step, so if you see me just going step by step, that's why. And now it says 2 double crochets into the ring, which I just did, and now chain 2. And here comes the repeat pattern because you can see it's in the brackets. So it says 3 double crochet into the ring and then chain 2 5 more times. What it's telling you is that this group of 3, there's going to be 6 of those all together. So we're immediately going to come into the ring and double crochet 3 more times. Just like so. And every time we finish a group of 3, just like this, we chain 2. So 1 and 2. So this string here, I'm just putting it around the outside of the ring so that it's getting stuck underneath the stitches so that you cannot see it. Now you should know that the pattern calls for you to have a larger tail in order to secure it down on top of your project. That creativity is up to you, and you can follow the instructions if you wish that. So there's my another group of 3, so we're going to chain 2, and let's do another group of 3. Just like so, very easy. And then once you get the group of 3 in, chain 2. So you're going to notice that you're going to appear to be running out of room within your ring, but because you're going around in the ring you can always shift your stitches and move them because they're just essentially just going around the ring and not into any stitches. So we have one group there, another, that's 5. So let's chain 2 again, and what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to grab the last group and just the first group and just pull. You see how they all just moved? So it provides more room into the center. And I'm putting in my final 3, but don't forget you still need to chain 2 as per the instructions right after it, and chain 2, and then we join it to the top of the chain 3 that we started off with, like so. So we're just joining it with a slip stitch, and so basically it should almost look like a hexagon, which it does. So you got 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, and that concludes round number 1. So let's begin round number 2 together. This is really simple, but the instructions make it look complicated, but trust me when I say it's really simple. So we've joined it to the beginning of the chain 3, but we're in the wrong place to begin this project for this one going around. So it says to slip stitch into the next double crochet, which is the middle one. Okay, and this is where we're going to start off the round, in the middle of the group of 3. So let's go into the instructions. It says now to chain 2. Okay, 1 and 2, and it says to 5 DC CL into the next chain 2 space. Well, here's the chain 2 space. So what is that? 5 double crochets in a cluster in the next chain 2 space. So here we go. So we're going to wrap and going into the chain 2 space, pull through, and pull through 2 and hold. Now to finish a double crochet you would pull through these final 2 to finish, but we're doing a cluster so we don't want to do that. So we're gonna begin again, so we're gonna wrap going into the same space and pull through 2 and hold. Wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, and see how we're collecting our stitches. We need a total of 6 of those loops on here, because see there's 1 2 3 4 5, so this 1 2 3 4, so that means that this is a 4 cluster. This here is part of the first one, which doesn't count, so we want a total of 6. Just easier, so I go 3 and 3 in my brain. So now we're gonna grab the yarn and pull through all of those 6 loops, and now it says to do a picot. Well, a picot is this. Now watch, 1 2 and 3, and what we want to do is slip the hook in behind all of these 6. See how easily that went in? And now we grab the yarn and slip stitch it through here and through the beginning loop, and this makes a point on the very top. And don't worry, we're going to review this again. So now we're at the top and we need to get to the next center of the group down here. So we go 1 and 2 and we slip stitch it to the middle of the group of 3. So now you have a fabulous little point. So let's review again. So this is what you're going to need to do. So we start off with chaining of 2, and now we look toward the next gap space and we do a 5 cluster. So we wrap going into the space and pull through 2 and hold. Wrap and into the same space, pull through 2 and hold. Wrap. Okay, I'm going to speed up. So you're basically collecting your stitches and you're looking to make sure that there's 6 loops on your hook. So there we go. And so now we're going to use the yarn and pull it through all 6. And now we're going to do the picot. So 1 2 3, and then we come in behind all of those 6, so just right into the inside of those stitches. And this is where tension and you have to be best friends. So now we've gone in behind, so we're going to grab it and pull through the starting 1, and then 1 and 2 come down. So I'm going to do that one more time because this is actually the last round, so we're going to do a slip stitch down. So this is, okay, 1 and 2, so you start off with a chain and we do a 5 cluster into the next. So essentially this is all we have to do for these small versions of these. This is your very last round. This is how fast it can be. Okay, so we got our 6 on here. We now pull through all 6, and now let's do a picot. So 1 2 and 3, going in behind all of the 6 in the middle of the stitch, I should say, not in behind, and then grab the yarn, pull through the starting loop, and then 1 and 2, and come down again to the middle of the next group of 3 double crochets. So continue to do that all the way around. I'm going to do it off camera, meet back up, show you how to fasten off, and you are good to go. And this is a small picot flower. I've now just finished my final petal, and now I've already done my chain 2, and now I just want to slip stitch to where I started. Very easy, no brainer. And so now I want to fasten off. I'm going to show you how to fasten off and really truly hide in your ends. I think my biggest lesson for 2013 has been the lesson of fastening off and actually really hiding my ends. So I'm just going to pull my yarn through. I'm just doing it without telling you. So I'm just going to grab my yarn and pull through, and this basically locks it onto itself, and then your darning needle is your best friend. You know, I never really cared much about doing the darning needle process until the last few months, and I realized that my projects don't ever fall apart in a live show or when I'm giving it away. And so essentially I want to take my darning needle and just feed it through the stitches just a little bit, and I want to go one direction, and I want to come back in the same direction that I just came from, but in a different area of the stitches, so it keeps it track. Now yesterday when I was doing my tutorials, I was showing you a plastic needle. This is a Susan Bates darning needle. Totally recommend it. Totally. You see, I'm not fighting with getting my plastic needle in there. So now that I've gone in 3 times, I can safely cut that yarn now, and you will never see where I stopped and started. So this is it. This is your small picot flower. It's been designed so that it will sit on top of a larger one, and you have a really nice three-dimensional look when you do so. You just have to sew it down to your project. So on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd, I'm your host Mikey, and for more free patterns and ideas, please stay tuned next time, and we'll see ya.